What's up, world? Welcome to a new episode of the Brian Janu Show. As you already know, I am Brian Janu. Like always, man, I'm on all podcast platforms everywhere. Also, social media platforms, Brian Janu Show. And YouTube channel, Brian Janu Show. Social media platforms you can find Brian Janu Show is TikTok and Instagram. And Facebook. And I do have a Twitter, but I don't really use it like that. But I'll talk about that next time. And yeah, my YouTube channel, Brian Janu Show. Shout out to everybody, man. I just hit uh over 100 subscribers on YouTube, so that's pretty fucking cool. Moving up on these YouTube, man. So shout out to everybody that's following, everybody that's watching, everybody that's subscribing. I appreciate you. I hope you continue to like the content that I'm providing. Yeah, so let's get into it. Today is my 300 episode, by the way, so of this podcast, man. So anybody that has been supporting me for 300 episodes, going on 4 years of doing this, man, I appreciate you guys so much. And let's get into it. But today's episode is life and times with music, okay? And the artist, okay. So Life and Times of Music has been so much fun. Speaking of 300 episodes, Life and Times of Music has been so much fun. I've actually had a chance to create so many different avenues and ways to talk about music. And I said this numerous times when I started this podcast, what I wanted to talk about. And I'm so looking forward to what the future holds. This is one of the last few episodes of season 7. I want to say this is episode 39. So, got one more Wrestling Life. I won't do, excuse me, Wrestling Life. So, Night of Champions. Um, I know Night of Champions is May 27th. So, that's going to be the second to last episode. And of course, I'm going to close out this series, this season, um, with episode. But I have no idea how I'm going to, I probably just talk. But Life of Times Music has been so much fun. And season 8 will be no exceptions to that rule. More top 10 lists, more debates, more talk about artists in depth. I'm getting really into my musical love. More, I promised a lot of things this upcoming season that I didn't get a chance to really do, but I'm gonna be doing the era shows, which I probably start season 8 with that because I've been saying I'm gonna do era shows, and I'm finally probably gonna talk about the era shows. Um, and if you know what I'm talking about, like the 90s, the 2000s, and 2010s. And speaking of the era shows, and no, this is how you know I've been doing podcasts for a long time because this man that I'm talking about for Life of Times Music has pretty much dominated in the musical space for 30 years. I was born in '94, so for 30 years, this man has been in the musical space since the '90s, man, the late '90s, early 2000s, 2010s, man, and he has had a hell of a career, an impeccable catalog in music, but also with his acting career, he's one of the rare few that has transitioned into becoming an actor so effortlessly. One of my favorite artists. I told you guys I will talk about him one eventually, and today is that day, man. I grew up on him. I loved his group. Loved his first project. Loved his second project. His second project is iconic. And when he came back with his third, I was 100% sold that this man is one of the greatest to ever do it. Now you might not want to say it because you got some reservations about him. Say what you want to say, but the kid from Tennessee is a fucking beast. That man is Justin Timberlake. Okay, January 31st, Aquarius, man. January 30th. We share the same birthday, which is crazy as hell to say. But January 31st, Justin Timberlake, man. Um, yes, JT. Um, the original Justin. God damn it. Um, I became a fan of Justin Timberlake, like I said, uh, when I was a kid. In Sync, yeah. Probably one of the first black kids that, probably one of the only few black kids that liked NSYNC. I fucked with NSYNC. I fucked with NSYNC. NSYNC was the shit. You kiss my ass and tell me that they weren't. I wasn't really into the Backstreet Boys like that. I didn't fuck the Backstreet Boys like that. I fucked with NSYNC. Reason why I fucked with NSYNC, because I used to watch them on Disney. They used to come and do Disney concerts when I was a kid. It used to be them. I think Ryan Gosling, which is crazy to say. It was like the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. It really was. And I remember when they first blew up, and they used to come on Disney, and they used to do concerts, and they used to redo. They used to cover the Jackson Five and all these other artists, and they used to do all these these songs and songs I was growing up on, and then they would go and I'm watching Disney Channel, and these white kids are singing the same shit I grew up on. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, yeah, like and, and I just got like, I was like, damn, this is fire. And we always knew Justin Timberlake was gonna be the star of the group because it always looked like he was going to be the guy. And man, I loved NSYNC, man. I think NSYNC was one of those groups, man, that you just respected. Um, Bye bye bye, you're tearing out my heart, shit like that. Like I just that, but the last album, Celebrity, that last album they had, man, gone. I talked about this when I did White Noise, the episode when I talked about Ed Sheeran, Justin Timberlake, Eminem, guys like that. That white artist that I love, gone by Justin Timberlake and well, NSYNC, gone by NSYNC was probably the first time I realized like, wow, there is other artists that can sing and do R&B so ballads that I also fuck with. And Gone made me a huge fan of Justin Timberlake. And I knew it was probably gonna be the last album that they were gonna put out, and so I was like, man, this dude goes and does his real shit his way, he is going to kill it. Um, and fast forward the tape, but they broke up, they ended their group what in 2000, 2001, yeah, about like 2000, 2001. And next time you look up, he's Justin Timberlake. Like he drops the Justified album, and it's just like rock your body, pops, and just goes crazy. And then Cry Me a River just solidified it. You know what I'm saying? Like solidified it. When you actually hear Pharrell talk about how the Neptune songs off of Justified was for Michael Jackson in the Invincible album, because Mike dropped in 2001. Yeah, Mike album dropped in 2001. It might have been the last Michael Jackson album that he physically did. Um, yeah, that dropped in '01, and then Justified came out like maybe a year or two after that. So yeah, 2 year like a year after that. So to have Pharrell say I made that the Justified songs that I gave Justin Timberlake, that was for Michael Jackson. So you can see why it felt like something that Mike probably would fuck with. Um, but you know, uh, with him and the Clips is such a big act, and of course Pharrell was cool with the Clips. They grew up together, so you know, that was a big look. And like I said, Cry Me a River was an incredible revenge song. Like, let's be real. Like, let's be real. Cry Me a River was the shit. Like that was the first time you realized, like, yo, this motherfucker about that shit. Like that was the shit. Senorita. Oh, that song is fucking fire, man. Let me love. Yeah, like, yeah, man. Like I Love You with the Clips, man, that whole album's fire. Rock Your Body, man, like it just was a phenomenal body of work for his debut album. It did what it's supposed to do. Um, I'm not here to get into what happened at the Super Bowl. Everybody knows what happened at that Super Bowl. Yeah. Everybody knows what happened at that Super Bowl. But um, do I think he should have did more to protect Janet Jackson in a sense? Definitely, he definitely should have. But when you when you are a new act, which he is a new act. He was a new act, even though we known him for a long time. But he was for the first time breaking out on his own. You gotta do whatever you do to protect your shit. Not saying it's right. No, no, no. I'm not saying it's right. But once you hear a lot of these stories of people in this industry protecting their interests, regardless of how it hurts other people, you can understand why so many people was so protective of him and kind of just was like, you know, whatever to one of the greatest artists of all time in Janet Jackson. So it just didn't a lot. He lost a lot of people, particularly black people, in that sense because he just didn't protect Janet Jackson and I get it. Like I get it. 100% I get it. Um, and then he took a like I said he went into the acting world and became an actor by that time and some of his movie roles were getting a lot of good acclaim and he was starting to do a lot of more acting and then it rose into what 2006. Yeah, '06. Yeah, so it took like 4 years, 4 or 5 years before he actually dropped um uh Future Sex and Love Sounds. Like it took a long time for him to drop that album, man. Like Future Sex and Sounds. It took a minute for him to drop that album. It took like 4 or 5 years for him to drop that album. And that album, I think, it may be his best album that he's ever dropped. I might actually talk about that album actually in the album breakdown when I think about it. Yeah, that was probably the best album he ever dropped. Uh, Again, like I said when I did the White Noise episode, I wasn't a fan of Sexy Back. I'm still not a fan of Sexy Back. I would sing it if I had to, like at a karaoke joint or something. I sing it, but it's not something that I personally liked. I was like, it could be better. It could be better. But when he dropped My Love with him and Ti, like I was set in stone. I was like, yeah, all right, we got one. Okay, I'm cool with this. Okay, I'm on board. I can fuck with this album now. And then what Come Around Again. Uh, the song is forever. It takes like 8 fucking minutes to get through that song. Like, it takes 8 minutes. But Timberland produced his ass off of that project. Boy, Timberland, that might be Timberland's best production album since like Missy Aaliyah. Like he killed that production on that album, man. That shit was phenomenal. Um, what goes around comes around. Fire fucking song, man. Like the video with him and Scarlett Johansson, like that shit was fire. Like so, like it's one of those albums that you just gotta fuck with. Summer Love, it's just like you put that shit on during the summer and you actually find a girl, like oh man, this shit different. I remember my sister playing that for me when we went to New Orleans for the first time after like Hurricane Katrina. I remember listening to that song, being like, man, this shit is fire. I was like, man, this shit is fire. Um, and then and then Until the End of Time, which might be the greatest. Yo, to the End of Time, man. Yeah, like the emotions, like you have that you go back and remember that song, man. Like I don't think people get that song its proper fucking respect, man. That shit is a classic, bro. Like it should be in the conversation of like wedding songs. Like it is that fucking good. Like it's up there, man. Like people can say whatever they say. Beyonce even remixed it. Like it was like, yo, that song should be in a converse. It should have its own respect. Like I like it should be in a conversation with the Thinking Out Louds from Ed Sheeran and the Thinking Out Louds and the Hold On, We're Just Going Home with like Drake. It should be in that conversation because that song is fucking phenomenal, man. Like the structure, his voice, the technique, like every fucking thing about that song was fucking fantastic, man. Like come on, man. Like Go. I would just tell you, go listen to that album and listen to the end of time. It is literally the best fucking song you will ever probably hear. I'm like, it's there. It's like, god damn, this shit is good. Like, yeah, the violins, the piano, like, oh man, it's just, yeah, that shit fire, man. And then he dipped again. He left. He just left us high and fucking dry, man. Like he just dipped again. But before he dipped, um, him, Nelly Furtado, and Timberland did a song, and then he was jumping on collaborations in and out of while he was doing movies, like heavy structure movies. And around this time, that's when he started doing collabos. He did a collab with Rihanna, Sierra. Um, of course, everybody knows Dead and Gone with him and Ti. Like that might be the best. Whew, shit, collab. Like them two did fully together. I remember him and Jamie Foxx and Ti did Winter. Like for a good bit of time before he physically did another album, he was just killing collaborations. When you got him on a collab, it was like some shit you had to listen to. 4 minutes with him, Madonna, and Timberland. Like I don't even like listen to Madonna like that. But when Tim and Justin Timberlake and Madonna's on a song, like 4 minutes, like I listen to this shit. Like you were hearing it in commercials, but you just didn't know who the fuck was on it. And then Madonna and Timberland, like you're like, oh shit, okay, Justin Timberlake, Timberland and Madonna. Okay, I fuck with this. I will fuck with this. And yeah, man, his collaboration bag is fucking incredible. Like if you go listen to his collaborations, you'll be like, damn, this motherfucker's been on some good shit, man. Like, and that's the thing, man. Like it, even him and okay, I didn't like this song when I was a kid, but I would even give Ayo Technology with him at 50 a fire banger. Like it was a good fucking song. Just came out at the wrong time. But if he was to drop, like if they would have dropped that shit like when 50 was at his peak, that shit would have banged. Like that shit would have been a massive fucking hit for 50. Not saying it isn't, but it would have been a massive fucking hit for 50. Um, yeah, man, just like bangers, man, like crazy hits, man. And 2013, he comes back to the music scene with his next album, and it's um the 2020 Experience Part One, um, which is the best one. I love Part Two. I don't get me wrong, him and Drake, Cabaret, um, TKO, which I get into Part Two, but Part One, man. I think because it was such a long time since we had heard an album from him, like 7 fucking years, a full body of work from Justin Timberlake, like, and then you hear it and you realize Suit and Tie with him and Hove is so like, what the fuck? I remember like that song coming out and immediately being like, oh shit, like yo, this shit fire. And it was so laid back, and it made you want to go get a suit and tie. It really did. It made you want to go get your suit and tie, put your suit on. You know what I'm saying? Like go hang out. Like it was a different type of song, man. And then you listen to the body of work, listen to the song. Mirrors. I remember the first time I heard Mirrors, and I immediately knew this is a hit. Like this is a fucking number one bullet hit. Like the beginning of it's beautiful, but then you get to the breakdown. Oh my god, bro! Like again, Timberland, man. Timberland as a producer should be in a fucking Hall of Fame with his feet up. Like he is that dude, man. Like you hear the mirrors and you hear the fucking end, like the breakdown, the piano, him, like, ah, that shit was so classic, man. But that's not even my favorite song off the project. Like the 2020 Experience Part One, my favorite song off the project was Blue Ocean Floor. Like I remember listening to that song and being immediately like being like, yo, this shit's fire, dude. You know, yeah, man. Blue Ocean Floor is my shit. I love Tunnel Vision, Don't Hold the Wall, um, Push a Love Girl. Yeah, that shit's fire. Like I like that song. Um, yeah, man. Like Justin Timberlake's like part one of the 2020 Experience was phenomenal. Part two, I think had more of the songs that you probably remember more now. Um, for like I said, Murder with Jay Z, Cabaret with him and Drake, um, TKO, Take Back the Night, um, what's the other fuck song? God damn it, I had it, just lost it. Drank You Away. Yeah, when he goes to Tennessee, Justin, that shit is like fucking fire. That shit is top notch greatness. Like yo, like when he brings out the Tennessee kids, man, bruh, that's a different type of energy, man. Fuck it. What else is on that fucking project? I fucking had that song. Not a bad thing. That's the song. Not a bad thing. Fire, fire, man. Like fire, fucking song, man. Like he dropped it, and then he dropped another project, Man in the Woods. Supplies was cool. Um, Pharrell beat on that was really fire. Say Something with him and Chris Stapleton though is the song that I think a lot of people loved off that project a lot. Um, Diddy did the Troll soundtrack. Did a song with Michael Jackson off his uh posthumous project. Um, yeah. Uh, he did a Holy Grail with Jay Z. Uh, yeah, yeah. He just did a song with Meek Mill a couple years ago. Believe it. Um, yeah. All in all, man. And there's rumors that he might be dropping an album soon. So that is true. I hope he is. Um, all in all, man, Justin Timberlake is one of those artists, man. He's only dropped four bodies of work by himself. If you count the insane shit, he's like seven. Um, but he has a song that dropped during the pandemic. What Aunt Clemens? Um, I forgot this fucking song name, man. It's like one of my favorite songs during the pandemic. It was like one of my favorite songs during the pandemic. Fuck, what is that song called? Um, it's right there on your when you know you got it and you just can't fucking remember what the fuck it was. Um, yeah, him and Aunt Clemens did this song. And it was so fire, man. And like I said, it was during the time of the pandemic. The 2020 election was going on. It was a lot of shit, and I remember just listening to that song and being like, "Yo, this shit is so good." Like they matched each other, and I was just like, "Yo, this shit is a really great song." If you when you see this episode, you know what I'm probably talking about. By the time I probably know to remember the song and everything, because I got the recording, I'm gonna forget it. But and I used to listen to this song every fucking day. When I first heard it, and then I just listened to it. Can't fucking remember the song now. Um, but yeah, Justin Timberlake, man, say what you want. The man has had an incredible era. 30 years of music and creating, you know, things and from the movies to the music to anything he's done, man. He's one of my favorite artists because not only that I grew up on him, but because he's able to change with the time. And I think that some of those artists sometimes get stagnant and they don't change with the time. You see why a lot of these artists kind of always play into like the I'm still a man shit, but he has grown with the times musically too. I mean, musically, when you listen to his first album, Justified, compared to The Man in the Woods and or even 2020 Experience, it's two different men. Like you can tell, it's two different men. This man was 20 years old, one of the biggest pop stars of all time, like at that moment, and then you get to the 2020 Experience, man is married with kids. Like it's two different fucking Justins. So it's just like you can tell like this is a different dude. This musically, he's a different guy. So as a fan of music, a guy like Justin Timberlake, you become a fan of because you know that his evolution in the game has changed over the time. 30 years of trying to stay relevant, even in music or in the movie space, is hard as fuck to do. And keep your name relevant is hard as fuck to do. So for him to have the ability to change with the times, that is why artists like Justin Timberlake will always, in my eyes, be one of my favorite artists because it's just something that he does that is just he knows how to make music. And I think that's the most important thing that he knows his music, he knows what he needs to do to make himself one of those guys. And I think that for the long haul, he's been a guy. Now, when I do this 30 the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, I gotta pick a decade for when I'm gonna talk about him. But for right now, like for right now, he is one of those guys that you can actually make a case for the 2000s, but then also the 2010s, even in the 90s with NSYNC. So you can make a case for him. And that's why I think he's one of those guys you cannot discount when it comes to the history of music because he's one of those dudes, man. He's one of those dudes. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, man. I'm Brandon Janu. It's been Life at Times Music. Go listen to Justin Timberlake's music on all musical streaming services. Enjoy. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.